welcome into this Sunday, my dear ones, as we kick off the beginnings of the celebrations for the 4th of July that's upcoming, except, of course, they aren't beginning. I've been listening to fireworks all week, especially last night. I didn't know what the hay was going on, and I thought, what is that? Is the television ready to blow up in the other room or what? And all it was the fireworks. We just love to party here. God bless us, we just love to party. And we love to party loudly and in a big way, and I certainly appreciate all of that. So here in this day, when we're looking at this thing called the joy of giving, I looked over the week and I saw, well, there is so much, there is so very, very much to be grateful for and to be inspired by as we understand a little bit more deeply and fully the extent of the power of what giving is. Now, when you go to the back of the glossary and you look up spirit, the definition is the giving of life back onto itself. And I don't know any greater definition than that. And this particular week, we've had lots of things going on in the world that have caused us to pause and ponder, and that have touched us deeply in different ways. And so we've had those outbursts of violence in 3 different countries that moved us, because we are all interconnected with each other and we are all caring and concerning about each other. We've had the memorial service for those wonderful people who have gone on to the bigger and better things in what would seem to be an untimely and not so wonderful manner. And we saw the givingness of spirit back onto itself in the amazing grace of those family members who could so very quickly forgive those who are that one young man who had taken so much from them and had caused them to be in endurance of an unbelievable loss. The graciousness of that, the sovereignty of that, the poise of that cannot but move us deeply indeed. And so we're blessed in being the recipients of such givingness. We also saw the celebration of the freedom that was given to all of our people in this good country to marry and have a family life like everybody else. And what did the choir choose to sing on the steps of the Capitol except the anthem of America? That's what they sang. Because the freedom rang out that all people are equal in not only the eyes of God, but in the eyes of this United States of America at last. And so that was a wonderful, wonderful givingness of a high court that came to that decision. And it doesn't matter what the count was, the outcome is what's important, that this kind of freedom was indeed our national right. And so we are deeply and truly grateful of that, but at the same time, we are honoring of people's personal spiritual beliefs. And so now we are called to give as those family members gave to that young man who had taken so much from them, our understanding and our patience as the people amongst us, because of spiritual persuasion, are not happy with the outcome. And so we will have the patience and we will abide our time and we will honor and respect their right to entertain those spiritual beliefs that they do. So life is rarely black and white. You know, that's the dualistic nature of life that we're living in. But to understand it fully, we have to go beyond the perimeters of what is black and what is white and find our way somehow in the gray area that is presented to us. We have to make our way through the gray and find our center in it and be able to stand in our sovereignty, still knowing that we're here to honor each and every one of us regardless. We're not here to honor people's misdeeds, but we're here to honor people's rights for self-expression. And that's what we've always been in an endeavor to do, not just in this country, but in all countries. How do we do that? And at the same time be true to the spiritual self of ourselves, which is one truth across the board. And that is our challenge. And this is the big and the important stuff. This is true spirituality in action when we put our back into that endeavor, and as uncomfortable as all get up as it might be, we're not afraid to look at these things that disturb us because of our personal biases and our personal way of being culturated, if that's a word, as we grew up from infancy. So the big picture of giving is huge. And here's the thing. Giving is something that is so much part of our nature, because if we are indeed created in the image and likeness of our Creator, and our Creator's definition is the giving of life back unto itself, it is seeded deeply within us to be that nature and to be part of life's flow and life's givingness and life's expansion because of what we give and what we bring to life. And the giving that we're asked to provide is something that does expand life. It's something that does increase life. It's something that stands for life and enlivens. That's what our giving demands from us. I brought believe it or not, this is twice in a row, we have the golden bag with us this week. And we ask ourselves, it's light this week, last week's a little heavier, what is within the bag? I wonder what is within the bag. I never know what's going to be in the bag until the very last minute. If something says, okay, the bag goes out today, and I go, oh gosh, the bag goes out today. Okay, what is it that's supposed to go in the bag today? And then my face today was turned in the direction of what I saw. And this is what I saw. I'm in my office at the time, and this is what I saw. One thing and one simple thing alone is in the bag. Now, this is a little flag that I have had in my office since I can't tell you when, in a little small, little tiny crystal vase, and I can see the cobwebs on it, and it's beginning to look a little bit worn like myself. But I have to tell you about this flag. Every time I look at this flag, or any flag of the United States of America, I smile. And I feel so good. I feel so good to be part of what this stands for. Because America has given me so much of what is so good. It has given me you. And like it or not, it has given me to you. And that's big. That's big. For me. For me, that's big. This little flag causes me to feel very good about life and living. Now understand, it's just a symbol. It's a symbol. And I have to say, with sadness in my heart, not every one of us in this country, when they look at that flag, feels the same way that I feel. And I'm sad about that. I'm sad about that. But that's their right to feel the way they feel. But for me, This is a symbol of what can be as well as what is. It's more of a symbol of what can be. This stands for so much, and God bless us all. Nobody's canonizing our founding fathers, that's for sure. Not at all. But in spite of their biases, in spite of their not able to go the full mile, so to speak, nevertheless, going against the grain of their own bias, they announced that all of us are equal. Equal in rights, in human rights under God. Yes, they were able to do that in spite of their lack and limitation and their personal biases. And has this flag always been used for the good? No, it has not. It's not the flag's fault. It's not the fault of the flag and what it stands for if it is abused. It's not the flag's fault. It's lack of understanding for what it stands for. And let me tell you, one of my most moving moments ever was when I was in South Carolina, in Charleston. And I went over to where it all began, that little island. And I saw in that museum now, in Fort Sumter, a very tattered, battered, bruised flag in plexiglass. And I cannot tell you what that did for me when I thought, out of that particular time, we have what we have today in America. And yes, we're making mistakes, but by Jiminy Crickets, enough of us are proud of the flag and proud to stand for the goodness that the flag symbolizes. Let me remind you, it has given you much as well as me. It's easier for me to see it because that always happens. It's like, converts are always the most zealous. So people who are not born in the country necessarily can come here and feel even deeper than the natives do about the country and about the flag and what it stands for, and are deeply appreciative of it. And so this flag has given us all here a great deal that is wonderful and that is good. And I'll tell you, when you get to really appreciate that, if you travel the world, and you stay any length of time in other countries, when you come off that plane, you want to get down on the ground and kiss the ground you've come down and landed on sometimes. And sometimes we wonder when people do that, what the hey are they doing kissing the ground? Get up, it's dirty. Whatever. But I can understand that. I can understand that very well. And so in thinking about the joy of giving, let us not forget what this country does give to us, and be grateful and thankful and appreciative of it. That's not to say that we agree by any manner or means with all that's going on at any level, whether it be our government or across the board or so on. Because as you understand and know, if you've been following the events of the week, as we are raising this week more and more of our wonderful flags, there is one flag coming down in South Carolina. And I am tipping my hat to the people of Carolina, to the governor of Carolina, who's doing that in spite of the fact that most of the majority of people don't want that to happen. But the message is clear to the Carolinians, This is no longer acceptable in a land and in the land of the free, and in the land of what this flag stands for. And so our prayers must be deep and high and wide as we understand that we live in a global community. In fact, it really is a global village. And what happens anywhere affects us all, wherever we are. We are no longer an insulated, huge, big island. We are not at all. We're get-atable in a way that we've never been get-atable before. And so, in our prayers every single day, we've got to feel it and see it and vision it and pray it into our existence, and that is peace on earth, goodwill to, for, and as all. We can't just keep criticizing the way things are not getting done or the way things are in the world if we are not giving to the solution through the way we think, through the way we feel, and through the way we behave ourselves. Understand, my dear ones, as I am endeavoring more and more to understand, every vibration you feel, every thought you think, every idea that you entertain, every choice you make, every opinion you come to, every act of your life and living affects every single thing that's going on in this world. And that is why we sing our songs. I'm here to remind you of your magnificence. And please, by all means, say a tender yes. And did you know, and please remind me, that you are the face of God? It cannot be left in the sanctuary when we sing those words, feel them and mean them so deeply. We've got to take that out there into this world and stare down anything that appears in front of us to be the opposite of all of that, because that's divinity in disguise. And if you and I, through the power and the presence of all that's been given to us because we live here, cannot make the effort, will not make the effort, what hope is there for the world, far less America? In my book, you have always been America for me. People, people, people. I love to get in the car and travel through the States, the United States of America. I love to get to know the people and their cultures in different states. And let me tell you, the different states have different cultures. It is a whole different ball of wax. If you go to the Midwest, it's like visiting another planet. Compared to California, if you go to New Orleans, that's an outer planet, an outer planet. And it's fabulous, and I love it. I love the differences. I do. I appreciate them. But I have to say, people are people wherever you go, and you'll find fantastic, wonderful people all over this land. And when you get to know them and you let them get to know you, there's nothing much they wouldn't do for you at all. Now, that's the majority of Americans. Wherever you find them, that's the majority of Americans. And so we may have this reputation or that reputation or the other reputation and so on. Just shake it off and know who we are and be who we are and show that those opinions are so off the wall, they're funny. They're funny. But if you don't represent this great land, and I don't represent this great land out there in the world, regardless of what's going on, who's teasing or taunting us or whatever, it won't change, you see. Because you see, it doesn't change in great big gobs. It changes one mind at a time, one heart at a time, one person making the difference at a time, at a time. So yes, we will look at the joy of giving as this week comes. We will enter into the understanding more fully and deeply and endeavor to appreciate what these words mean. Spirit, by means of you and me, is the givingness of life back unto itself. So that my thought, my feeling, and my behavior can either injure life or heal life? What is it going to be? Now, when you and I start to think and feel and behave ourselves from this kind of awareness, soon across the board there will be no more football hooliganism, etc. There will be no more gangs, etc. There will be no more fisticuffs as we face each other down on the battlefield or whatever, whether the battlefield is family with another family or a family member within a family, and then spreading that all out. There'll be no more of that. But see, where do you think your family is going to get the opportunity to change, if not by means of you? Who's going to be the first one to change in your family? It's not going to be them. You know that. But it could be you. It could be me. And any family we're in, whether it's a work family or a home family or, or a recreational family or a club family or whatever family. Whatever family we attach ourselves to, because whatever group we're in family. We are the family, the one family, the family of God. We are the one race, the human race. I'm not going to say this until we're blue in the face hearing it, because maybe when we get blue enough in the face hearing it, we'll start really applying it. And so that's our great endeavor today as we go into this beautiful week wherein all of us are getting ready to celebrate and relax and have a lovely holiday weekend. As I said this morning, I will be more than likely in the company of the Dalai Lama on the 4th of July, so I'll be thinking of you all very, 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 very carefully and deeply, and I'll be taking your energy with me. He is here at the moment. He's in celebration of his 80th year. He's doing a world tour, and he will be here in retreat. There's a retreat starting up on Sunday for 3 days, and I believe it's in Anaheim in the stadium over there, and it's open to the public. I don't know whether there are any seats left, but it'd be very worthwhile going and being in the company of that man of peace. And being in the understanding and being in the awareness, there's no difference between the Dalai Lama and you, none whatsoever. You have the very same calling as he has. He's just responded at a different level and in a different way. But there is no difference, none whatsoever. There'll be lots of celebrations this week. There'll be rainbow celebrations galore, you know that, as well as the 4th of July celebrations. The rainbow colors and the red, white, and blue colors will mix and mingle this week as joy and celebration is across the land. But in all of that celebrating, let us celebrate Spirit's own nature in us as its own givingness, as its choice, as Spirit's choice of being itself and taking care of everything by means of you and by means of me. By means of you and by means of me. I can't think of a better way that you and I can spend this week in celebration of this great land and all the other great things that are going on in our world. Our world, our home, our planetary home. That's it, our world. We're responsible for it all. It's huge, it's big, but we wouldn't be called to take care of it if we couldn't do it. So all I can say is, God bless the world, but especially today. God bless America, and America for me is its people, is you, and so it is.